and welcome to Newsroom Series here on Channels Television. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Today our focus is on the Northwest, but first we'll give you the top stories making the rounds in the course of the day. The Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, that's the NFIU, has uncovered an emerging crowdfunding network being used to raise and move money for terrorist activities in Nigeria, including the use of accounts belonging to dead persons. The Financial Intelligence Agency also identified the use of bank accounts registered in women's names and phone numbers linked to third parties as methods employed by terrorist financiers to conceal the movement of illicit funds. The findings were contained in the NFIU's 2025 annual report, which examined emerging trends in terrorist financing, financial fraud, and other financial crimes during the year. Today is Eid-el-Maulud, and President Bola Tinubu is congratulating Muslims on this year's celebration, charging them to imbibe the good teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. In a statement released today, the president said that beyond celebrating the birthday of the Holy Prophet, Muslims should use the occasion for introspection, prayer, and learning from the Prophet's exceptional virtues. He says, quote, "The Muslim faithful should make deliberate effort to adhere to the teachings of Prophet Muhammad. There are great lessons of devotion, perseverance, tolerance, humility, and selflessness that we can all learn from the life of the Prophet." End quote. The president urged religious leaders to use the period to pray for the country and to admonish their followers to translate the lessons from Prophet Muhammad's life in their commitment to the country. President Tinubu also urged those celebrating the Maulud festival to extend a hand of fellowship to the needy and vulnerable in the spirit of the season. He called for prayers against insecurity and other afflictions bedeviling some parts of the country. The Sokoto state government has donated more than 100 million naira and 408 bags of assorted food items to families affected by recent bandit attacks and a deadly boat accident in the state. The assistance is targeted at victims in Dinawa, Berijingo and Gurao communities in Wuruno and Goronyo local government areas, where dozens of people were killed and others injured in separate incidents. The relief package was announced during a condolence visit by the delegation led by the state APC leader, Senator Aliu Wamako, who expressed the government's sympathy to the affected families. At Dinawa and Berijingo, families of those killed in bandit attacks received 1 million naira each alongside food items, while injured victims were also given financial assistance. In Gurao, where 65 people died in a boat mishap, each bereaved family received 1 million naira and food supplies. Senator Wamako also urged communities to provide useful information to the security agencies, while authorities in Gurao were directed to enforce measures against overloading of boats to prevent future accidents. Jigawa State Governor Umar Namadi says his administration will continue to prioritize investment in girl-child education. Speaking in Jahun, Governor Namadi flagged off the distribution of 48,300 school uniforms, 15,000 school bags, 40,000 sanitary pads, and another 40,000 exercise books to female students across the state. He says the intervention aims at reducing the financial burden on families and improving girls' attendance and retention in school. The governor also announced 22,500 uniforms for junior secondary schools, 11,000 for nomadic schools, and 3,800 uniforms for the Almajiris in integrated Sangaya schools.
This occasion is project of commitment and continuous effort to achieve one of our administration priority objectives. That is to create a more conducive atmosphere for teaching and learning. That is to improve and improve attention, reduce gender disparity, and achieve a better learning outcomes for our children across the states. Through this intervention, the Jigawa government is also strengthening its support for families and schools to keep children in schools and make education a reliable pathway to opportunity, productivity, and sustainable development. Let's forget most of very important education sector intervention by implementing specifically strengthening access to education, retention in school, and completion of full course of schooling for our children with the sufficient attention to the education of girls' child. This initiative speaks directly to one of our major commitments I made in my inaugural speech, which is accelerating the pursuit of human development services, guided by the Sustainable Development Goals and driven by our conviction that every child deserves functional, inclusive, and qualitative education in Jigawa State.
Still talking education, the Kaduna State University chapter of the Academic Staff Union of Universities says it is ready for immediate negotiations with the Kaduna State government to resolve outstanding issues threatening industrial action at the institution. While the union says it does not want to embark on strike, it is appealing to government that its demands be addressed for the sake of industrial harmony.
The Academic Staff Union of Universities, Kaduna State University chapter, is seeking fresh negotiations with the state government as concerns grow over a possible industrial action. The dispute centers on the implementation and domestication of the 2025 federal government KASU agreement, which the union says will improve staff welfare and address key challenges.
For the government, it has the opportunity to write itself its name in gold by actually fixing a problem system perhaps they inherited. That will be a strong legacy it will leave, and that is what we are hoping for and praying for.
The union's 2-week ultimatum follows a directive from its national leadership, and the chairman says ASU is not seeking to shut down the university, warning that industrial action will affect staff, students, and the institution's takeout. ASU presents 10 demands to the state government, 3 of which have been addressed. Outstanding issues include university autonomy, excessive workload, promotion arrears, death benefits, group life insurance, wage awards, and pension remittances.
There are about 10 issues on that, and the government was able to address issues of 2017, 60% of our 2017 withheld salaries, service allowance, and then the withheld salaries of 2022, May to September 2022. And we commend them for that. However, there are still pending issues. That is what we are calling.
The Kaduna state government says it has spent over R1 billion on staff welfare, including funds to clear withheld salaries and outstanding allowances.
We inherited a problem of poor infrastructure facilities for both staff and students. We inherited problems of revenue leakages as well as lack of accountability. We inherited problems in the hike of student tuition as well as other fees. So what I want to point out here in essence is that not that we met a stable university. We met a university in a sorry state, a university in a verge of total collapse. The focus is on what His Excellency can do, what the government can do in an effort to be able to redeem the situation, to address the problems. And His Excellency swung into action. He swung into action. What he did first was to settle what? The backlog of salaries and allowances for all the staff, both academic and non-academic.
With both sides open to further talks, ASU is urging the state government to act quickly to resolve the dispute and prevent a disruption of academic activities.
Meanwhile, following the meeting held earlier in the week between the management of the Kaduna State University and government, the Kaduna State Administration has constituted a 9-member negotiation committee to engage with the State Academic Staff Union of Universities and other staff unions over their demands. The state government has also approved a one-off payment of 300 million naira as earned academic allowance for the university staff. According to a statement released by the Secretary to the Kaduna State Government, Dr. Abdul Kadir Mayere, the intervention demonstrates Governor Uba Sani's commitment to staff welfare, industrial harmony, and the stability of the institution. That's KASU. Dr. Mayere said the 300 million naira payment is part of efforts to address a backlog of more than 800 million in accumulated entitlements and allowances dating back to 2016. He said the administration had also settled outstanding withheld salaries and released more than 300 million naira for the accreditation of academic programs and resource verification exercises for postgraduate programs. The negotiation committee will be chaired by the Commissioner for Education, Professor Abubakar Sambo, and it has 4 weeks to conclude its assignment and submit recommendations to the state government. The Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, in collaboration with the Katsina State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, has launched a state-level step-down training for master trainers on greening schools and climate change education intervention as part of efforts to strengthen environmental awareness and improve the quality of basic education across the state. Declaring the training open in Katsina, the executive chairman of SUBEB, Dr. Kabir Magaji, described the initiative as the first of its kind in the state. He said climate change has become a global challenge requiring collective action, stressing that the training will equip participants with the knowledge and skills needed to address climate-related issues within schools and communities. In a related development, Dr. Magaji also declared open a 4-day capacity building workshop for newly recruited quality assurance officers, principals, and head teachers on school self-evaluation.
Now, it remains for us, the stakeholders, to take this initiative seriously, to take it down to all the stakeholders so that we will have a better understanding and implementation of the greening school and the climate change practices so that we can benefit from the gains of all that is in place within the harbor.
Still in Katsina, the state government has urged young people to acquire multiple vocational and professional skills alongside leadership qualities as part of efforts to prepare them for future leadership responsibilities. The Deputy Governor, Malam Farouk Jobe, made the call while declaring open a 10-day intensive leadership and legislative training program for the pioneer youth nominees of the Katsina State Youth Parliament in Katsina. The initiative, introduced by Governor Diko Rada's administration, is aimed at promoting youth inclusion in governance, leadership, development, and empowerment. Addressing the participants, Malam Jobe urged the nominees to identify their strengths, develop their potential, and begin preparing for leadership roles without delay, explaining that effective leadership is built on 3 key pillars: capacity, commitment, and integrity.
So don't wait for tomorrow, because people tell you, don't allow them to deceive you that you are leaders of tomorrow, you are leaders of today. Bearing this in mind, we are giving you a lot of opportunity in the government of Duke for Madaraka PhDCI. And today you have a lot of them in the cabinet, heading strategic MDS, and being involved virtually in everything that has to do with governance.
That is why we started the selection, and then His Excellency has approved it to be merit best. You know, there are many state youth parliaments in Nigeria. There are almost 27 states that they have state youth parliament, but it is a kind of a nomination. So here in Katsina, it is a different story. His Excellency has mandated it. We must make it merit best. Any youth of Katsina State who is between the age of 18 to 27 years of age, so he is bona fide individual of Katsina State. So if he is interested, he should kindly apply.
When we come back after the break, the United Nations Children's Fund, that's UNICEF, hands over a renovated primary health care facility to Diso community in Kano State. Join us again. Welcome back to Newsroom Series. In Kano, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has renovated and equipped one of the largest primary healthcare centers in Diso ward of Gwale local government area in the state. This is part of its intervention to improve healthcare, particularly for children. The infrastructure was handed over to the State Primary Healthcare Management Board. Our correspondent, Nanchin Vincent, reports.
The handover ceremony marks the completion of the upgraded Diso Primary Health Care Center in Gwale local government area of Kano State. The facility, rehabilitated by the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, is now handed over to the Kano State Primary Health Care Management Board.
If we have strengthened primary health care, one, because it is very close to the community and community can access them throughout 24/7, very close to their homes. But if we are able to do effectively, then 60, 70 or more than that percentage is not going to the tertiary care. The burden on the tertiary care would be reduced and people have a low cost healthcare services very close to their home. So that's why UNICEF and other development partners and the management, primary health care and management board put a lot of emphasis on these primary health care services.
The UNICEF representative is also urging relevant stakeholders to ensure the facility has adequate skilled and trained healthcare personnel to provide effective services.
Building is one thing, but services are another thing.
Yes.
So we are also, calling upon and trusting that as they are doing with so many other PSCs, Primary Health Care Management Board, our PSC services, our health counselors, all those people will make sure that these services remain quality and available throughout those things. So it is a continuation of this, small handing over of this health facility, but in a longer way, continued services for the people in and around Gwale for that purposes.
The Kano State's Primary Health Care Management Board commends the intervention, describing it as a timely boost to healthcare delivery at the grassroots.
Well, one is an impressive moment because we have just received a renovated and upgraded primary healthcare facility here in Diso, in Gwale local government, which was facilitated by UNICEF. It's really impressive and encouraging, and we appreciate to UNICEF for these interventions. And I learned as they are providing this similar intervention to 4 other facilities in the state, just to ensure that there is a quality service delivery at the primary health care. So it's a glad moment, it's an impressive moment, and we extend our appreciation on behalf of the state primary health care for this laudable intervention.
The upgraded facility now features an expanded delivery room, consultation room, and nurses station, among other improvements expected to enhance the quality of primary health care services and strengthen care for women and children in the community.
Insecurity and the prevailing economic situation have been identified as some of the factors contributing to the challenges of zero-dose immunization in Kebbi State, with 7 local government areas reportedly among the worst affected. The affected local government areas include Mayama, Suru, Zuru, Yauri and Burning Kebbi, among others. This was disclosed during a 2-day capacity building workshop on tracking for accountability and equitable immunization organized by the Kebbi State Primary Healthcare Development Agency in collaboration with the Center for Health, Economics and Development. Participants from affected local government, health management teams, traditional institutions, immunization officers, and community mobilizers attended.
These are children that have reached the age of 1 year, more than 1 year, without receiving any routine immunization antigen. That's why they are called zero dose. They have passed the age of receiving routine immunization and they were not immunized. The percentage of zero doses is very alarming in the country. And when we subdivided to Kebbi State, we found that these 7 LGAs are contributing to the high number of zero dose in the state.
This gathering is saying we should all come together and discuss and brainstorm on how we are going to sort out this problem of zero doses. So many have spoken and they have come up with a lot of ideas on how these children will be targeted and they will be immunized. Maybe by so doing, we will come up at least within a short time to vaccinate unimmunized children that has been left behind for quite some time now.
And in a bid to prevent loss of lives among waterway users during the rainy season, particularly amid the threat of flooding, the Nigeria Red Cross Society has distributed 12 safe evacuation boats to 12 communities across 6 local government areas of Kebbi State. The benefiting local government areas are Yauri, Argungu, Bagudu, Ngaski, Kokobese and Shanga. Flagging off the distribution of the boats in Argungu, the state coordinator of the Nigeria Red Cross Society, Kebbi State chapter, Ibrahim Ngaski, said each of the 6 local governments will receive 2 boats. He called on the local government authorities to complement the initiative by providing additional boats to help strengthen emergency response and evacuation efforts.
We have community disaster reduction committees, which we will train them and also them the techniques on how to carry out evacuation when there is any flooding or emergency in their respective communities. So today we are witnessing distribution of rescue or evacuation, safe evacuation boat to Argungu and other communities. This is the effort of International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent with the support from ECHO, who provided this support through the Nigerian Red Cross Society in order to bring Sokoto to communities affected by flooding, especially in Argungu, Yauri, Bagudu, Kokobese, Shanga, Ngaski, and other local and Bagudu local government areas.
And that's where we draw the curtain on today's edition of Newsroom Series. We're taking a look at the Northwest. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balu.